Hi, I am Sarah de Carvalho, CEO of the It's a Penalty campaign. Welcome to my Instagram lives. And over the next few weeks, I'm going to be chatting to some of our partners of the It's a Penalty campaigns. Today, I'm going to be speaking to my very good friend, Jake Neeley from the Malouf Foundation. So let's just invite him in here. Here we go. The organizations we work with do incredible work to end exploitation and human trafficking. And here's Jake. Hi, Jake.
Hey,
Welcome.
thank you. Yeah, it's good to see you. Thanks for inviting me on.
Yeah, pleasure. I was just thinking the last time I saw you was in Miami during the Super Bowl in February.
And then the whole world changed, right? I'm just like, it's crazy. 2 weeks later, and things were on lockdown, and so it was a huge blessing for sure that we were able to do that, and have that campaign, see a lot of success. So
It really was, and you guys, you were there with your film crew, and you made a fantastic highlights video of the work of It's a Penalty campaign, which people can still see across the It's a Penalty social media platforms. So thank you so much for your partnership. We love working with you guys.
yeah, it's been a really great opportunity to work together, and I've obviously followed It's a Penalty for a long time. And so to work together on that campaign, and with such a big audience, and to see the effect the campaign had in the area with the other organizations that were there was huge. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah. It really is all about collaboration, isn't it? Working together.
Absolutely.
To end exploitation, human trafficking. So Jake is the exec director of Malouf Foundation. You're based in Utah.
Yeah, northern Utah is our home. We're just a little bit north of Salt Lake City area, and it's beautiful. This time of year it does get a little warm, but great place to be, and kind of a unique place to be. To be in this arena, and to work together, but definitely feel fortunate for the opportunities that are abounding, during these times that are really different.
So it's early morning for you.
It's 10 a.m. So yeah, depending on who you talk to, for sure. But isn't it cool? I mean, we're on two opposite sides of the world, and we can do this.
And amazing. So Jake, tell us the amazing work that you do with Malouf Foundation.
Yeah, so our flagship cause is to confront child sexual exploitation, which obviously involves trafficking and abuse and other forms. But we have a unique start and a unique platform than a lot of other NGOs in the world. We actually are connected to a for-profit company that makes sleep products. That company is a B Corp, and so even though it is for-profit, an equal measure of the mission of the company is to help people in the world and the planet. And so we're obviously grateful to be part of a large organization and with other resources. But that start happened about 3 years ago, and Malouf Foundation was a new organization in 2014, and we really wanted to take the growth of the company and match it with some giving, and be proactive to do something that was part of an important cause that we felt like we could impact and help. And so that initial mission was just to help people with basic needs in difficult times, and it related a lot to the product, sheets and mattresses and stuff like that we could donate to organizations. And so that's how we got started. Really began donating to foster care in Utah, domestic violence shelters, a number of other organizations that in particular were helping women and children. And then about a year in, we connected with another organization, Operation Underground Railroad, who's also based in Utah.
Yeah.
And we met them at some events, and that really opened our eyes to the world that exists that most people didn't know about, even today are knowing about more than ever, but still is very hidden. And that world of human child sex trafficking. And so
Yeah.
that was just something that obviously when you hear about it, you don't ever dismiss. And a lot of people, well, so then through those connections, I just want to say really quick that's what really opened our eyes to getting involved. And then we started learning about who else was doing things. And that's how I came across It's a Penalty, learning about the incredible campaigns and the really effective methods to drive awareness. It was through these connections that we decided and chose our flagship cause was to confront child sexual exploitation. And that was about 2 years ago when we really drew the line and began proactively trying to make a difference in that arena. So it's definitely growing today in the work that we're trying to do. Obviously there's a lot more to talk about on that note.
Yeah. I just think it's fantastic when corporates make social cause, especially a cause like this, mainstream. It becomes integral with your strategy, and that's when we're really going to start to see an impact throughout the world, I think. And I do think, with the help of the Sustainable Development Goals, with the UN Global Compact, and just a sort of growing, especially the younger generation, they want to make a difference socially. And also the Modern Slavery Act, where corporates are really looking at their supply chains. I think we are beginning to see a difference. I certainly have felt that over the last 2-3 years.
I was actually talking to a friend of mine who her daughter's 15 years old, and they're school shopping. She's getting ready to get back into whatever school looks like today for her. But as a 15-year-old, she saw some clothing she liked, and she said, "Well, what does the company stand for? What are they all about?" And really dug in and looked into what was going on there. And so people do care, and people do watch and look. And so we're really fortunate to have an organization that does care, that does look into all those things from top to bottom and try to make an impact in the world.
Absolutely. And tell us a bit about, you've got a new online education led by survivors, haven't you? Survivors of trafficking, human trafficking.
Yeah, so it's called, this online tool is called OnWatch. And OnWatch is free online training to educate people to recognize the signs of sex trafficking. And so with OnWatch, we've launched it about a year ago, and that was kind of our first initial version 1 launch, and it was really good and a huge success. And so we decided this was going to be something that we were really going to invest our time in, and the education would be a big part of our focus as an organization. And so version 2 is going to go live in, what day are we? We're on the 17th, actually in a month from today, September 17th.
Cool.
We are officially launching version 2 of OnWatch. And what I'm most excited about with version 2 is that, like you said, it is survivor-led and survivor-informed.
Brilliant.
So we've been working with a team of survivors, all based out of the United States, and they have informed the training, they've contributed to the training, and they're continuing to be a part of it. The great thing about this is that sex trafficking is a hard thing. Obviously, we talked that it's in the shadows. It's a dark subject, but having these survivors come and work with us and join together, really creates a strong union. But I think for me, more importantly, it creates training that is accurate and very descriptive of what trafficking looks like in the United States, and that's really where our focus is. Now, of course, these stories that the survivors share, their experiences, and the signs that exist for them do exist in other places in the world for sure, especially the ones that are more closely related to the United States. But really focusing in on the U.S., we feel like helps in a big way to educate people on what things really look like. So the modules start with a survivor's story, and these survivors have stories that are very similar to others. So we have one who is trafficked by a family member. That's the second most common way individuals are trafficked in the United States is by a family member.
The second most common way by a family member.
Most. Yeah. Yep. The first most common way is by a boyfriend. Now, of course, it's not a real boyfriend, but it's someone who portrays themselves to be, something that they're not, and they're, obviously a fraud. But they pretend that they are, a nice person, and then they turn them and begin trafficking them with that psychological type manipulation. So the new training focuses on these survivors and their stories, and then we have a subject matter expert that comes in and kind of breaks down the story, talks about who they saw or who the survivor interacted with, what that interaction was, what they could have seen, hoping to put ourselves in that situation so that when we see that, we know what to do. And then we talk about how to respond. So I think that's what gets me most excited about the new training is simply that we've got a place where the community and survivors can come together, and a lot of the survivors they want something good to come out of this horrible situation that they've been in, and so by sharing their stories and really getting this having their story out there, and then talk about who they whether it was a teacher or police officer or a neighbor, how we can help in that situation.
And I think, how can people actually access this tool, the OnWatch tool?
So it's at the website is iamonwatch.org.
Okay.
So that's it. Yep. And then so when you go to the website today, it redirects to a landing page on Malouf Foundation. But on September 17th, when we go live, it'll be its own website. And honestly, it's as simple as clicking start the training. So when you go to iamonwatch.org, there'll be a button at the top, and you click start the training, and then you're right in there, and you can immediately get going and learn from these survivors and their stories and what we're doing.
Excellent. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why we've launched the What is Human Trafficking campaign in collaboration with the actor Liam Neeson.
Yes.
And you're one of our partners. So tell me why you felt it was so important to work with us on that campaign.
Well, I think for me the obvious thing for sure is it's Liam Neeson, right? He was the star in Taken, the movie that really a lot of people look to and they say, oh, I know what human trafficking looks like. I've seen Taken. And the reality, like I mentioned before, is that scenario in Taken, it's a fictional story. It does have some truth tied into it, but the idea of somebody being abducted and physically restrained isn't the most common way that people are trafficked. And it is a way for sure, and something that people should watch for and be careful of, but it's not the most common way. Most people aren't abducted. But having Liam Neeson, the person, talk about it, and then talk about it in the real way and say, this is what to look for, this is how you find things, is hugely impactful. And we've already seen the success of him getting involved, and it's just I feel like the starting point in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I agree.
It's so exciting that somehow you find these people, somehow you get with these. I guess not somehow you find them. They're very easy to find. They're big names, but somehow you find a way to get to them, and and work together on this super important cause. So it's incredible and very commendable.
Well, thanks, Jay. I mean, I know already we launched the 2-minute video that we've made with Liam Neeson 2 weeks ago during a live panel of experts, including, when I say experts on anti-trafficking, and the panel also included 2 survivors of human trafficking with amazing stories to share. And we've already had over 140,000 people watch that panel. So if you haven't watched the panel, you can catch up. Again, it's available on the It's a Penalty social media platforms. And of course, if you haven't watched the Liam Neeson video, 2-minute video, that's actually over 1 million people have seen that already. And wow. So do watch it and do share it, because we want that to get out far and wide all over the world. And like you were saying, it's only when we educate about human trafficking, I mean, it doesn't get worse, does it, than human being, especially a child. I mean, 1 in 4 individuals that are trafficked are children. That's under the age of 18. Yeah. 1 in 4, and they reckon about 25 million people are trafficked every year, and that's for labor, and a vast majority for sexual exploitation. And I think, like you were saying, unless we talk about it, how are people going to know that it exists, and how are they going to know how to make a difference? And we all want to make a difference. And so, you know, the Liam Neeson video, like you were saying, there is that link with Taken, and yet he is educating about what is the reality. You know, the vast majority are trafficked by people they know within their own communities, like you were saying earlier. And you know, what are the signs to look out for? And if you tied up to our video, we have a landing page, knowthesignsnow.org. And if you go to knowthesignsnow.org, you will not only be able to see the film, the 2-minute film, which you can share, but you'll also be able to learn about the signs to look out for. And then you can go to make a report. And if you click on make a report, it comes up with a map of the world that we've developed. And wherever you are in the world, if you put your cursor over that part of the world, it will come up with all the mechanisms, the different mechanisms to report, whether you think you're a victim or whether you suspect you've seen, you know, abuse, exploitation, or human trafficking. And I always say, don't hesitate, because the more information that the law enforcers have, the more they're able to act. And so I really encourage you to go to knowthesignsnow.org. And then all our partners, including Malouf, your logos are there, and if you want to know more about Malouf Foundation, click on their logo and it'll take you right through to their website. So thank you so much, Jake, for joining me today. It's been great to chat, and thank you for working with us.
Absolutely. I think there's definitely a lot of opportunity to work together on this, and obviously that campaign at knowthesigns.org is really important. We're definitely behind getting that out. And reporting the tips. You know, we've talked to law enforcement in working with them, and they would prefer to have these tips. 9 tips that are fine to every 1 that isn't, just to ensure that we get that. So knowing what to look for really gives law enforcement a head start when that tip is made. So I love that we can work together on that.
Yeah. Great. Thanks so much, Jake. I look forward to working together on the next campaign.
Thank you very much. All right.
Take care. God bless.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.